What's up, everybody? I want to take this privilege, this pleasure, this honor, as well as this opportunity to welcome each and every one of you to season number 2 of Unconventional Conversations. Season number 1 was an absolute blast, and we are in season number 2. So maybe you've never seen season number 1 of Unconventional Conversations. I want you to go to the YouTube channel and check out season number 1. Maybe you don't even know what an unconventional conversation is. I am Dr. Thomas Beaver, servant leader, senior pastor of the Star Church. An unconventional conversation started as a spinoff from a series that we did in the summer of 2022 entitled Subjects That Sizzle, in which we tackled all of the hot button subjects in Christendom that affect those of us who claim Christianity. And we try to tackle these hot button subjects from a biblical perspective. I mean, instead of us leaving it to the imaginations of the people, telling the people what the world has to say, we wanted to tell the people what the word has to say about these subjects that sizzle. Well, Unconventional Conversations is a spin-off of that. How is it a spin-off of that? Well, guess what? In Subjects That Sizzle, we were talking to the church about these hot button topics. In Unconventional Conversations, I believe with all of my heart that I'm doing what Jesus would do. I am actually talking not to the church about these hot button topics. I am talking to actual people who were once upon a time a part of these hot button topics, in some cases who are still a part of these hot button topics. And that's what Unconventional Conversations is all about. It is about leaving the religious behind, going after God in order to have a relationship. And so to all of the critics who say a pastor shouldn't be having these kind of conversations, to all of the critics who say that a pastor should not be talking to these kinds of people, my rebuttal would be, what did Jesus do? Not what would Jesus do? What did Jesus do? I mean, he got in trouble with the religious leaders of his day because they said Jesus is hanging out with notorious sinners who are tax collectors. He's hanging out with wine bibbers. But guess what? He knew that you couldn't reach the people if you didn't talk to the people. So that's what it's all about. Today's conversation is with none other than my friend and my brother. He is a member of the Star Church. He has been redeemed. He is in his sanctification process like all of us. That is nothing more than a $2 word. That means the process of becoming more and more like Jesus the Christ. But man, when I tell you, this brother has a story. If you follow the Star Church, you saw him as a part of 21 days of prayer and fasting. But we knew during that 30-minute segment, there was no way possible for him to get it all out. So we have him back on my personal platform, Unconventional Conversations. Let's welcome to today's conversation none other than Jacobie Williams. Come on. Put some fire in that chat. Say what's up to the people.
How y'all doing?
Man, that's what's up. How you feeling today?
Feeling good.
Man, that's good. That's good. So last time that I had you on, it was the church's platform. It was 21 days of prayer and fasting, and there was so much that perhaps you wanted to share, perhaps you could have shared, but you did not share concerning your life story. Before we get into your life story, why do you think it's so hard for people to be open, for people to be honest, and for people to be transparent? Why was it so hard for you and it made you feel like you didn't want to share it?
For one, I got a son, he's 14.
Yeah.
And I got a lot of nieces and nephews who older now and they understand. And they on social media. And it's just like how they look up to me, you know.
Yeah.
Even much family members, in-laws, people in the community. Like,
Yeah.
they hold me to a standard that I ain't want to let them down.
Right.
So that's one reason I ain't open up or be more transparent than usual.
Here's what I think the difference probably is. A lot of times when people share their past and they have these amazing, amazing testimonies, they share their story, but they share it from a standpoint of glorification.
Right.
So on one hand, they're saying that I've been changed, but on the other hand, they're really glorifying like the lifestyle that they say they used to be in, and some of them may still be in it. But when I think about your story and you sharing it, the reason I'm so excited for you to share it is because we're getting ready to talk about the pros, we're getting ready to talk about the cons, and we're not sharing it from a standpoint of glorifying what the past was, but we're sharing it from a standpoint so that people can be able to learn from it. What you think about that?
Yeah, that's true because it's just even much when I was out there, God was still saving me. He was still blessing me.
Yeah.
So that's a good way to put it.
So let's get right to it. When you say you were out there is a buzzword. It's got everybody leaning into the edge of their seat. They already see you. They looking at you right now. They see your swag, but they want to know what out there means. What is that? Tell the people.
Selling drugs, partying, plenty of women, just really living like every day, all day, like 30 deep. I'm talking about committing crime. We were just, from drinking lean, smoking, alcohol, nonstop.
Yeah.
That was our lifestyle, and I was the leader. Had a lot of cats. Like I was the leader. They called me the CEO. So
Yeah.
a lot of them looked up to me. Everything I did, they wanted to do. So
Yeah. So by you being the leader, I'm assuming, correct me if I'm wrong, it wasn't too often that you were actually the one who was out there pushing it, but you had runners.
right, I had the plug. I had to connect. So I was getting it and dishing out to my crew.
Yeah. So somebody who's tuned in, who's grown up in the church, hears you say, I had the plug, I had to connect. They hear me use the word runners, but they don't really know what that is. Explain that to them.
So I wouldn't say, I'd say workers.
Yeah.
It was the ones that I get the stuff in, I get it to them, and they go push it out there.
Right.
So I call them workers.
Got it. So they were the workers. They were the one distributing the products, but the money came back to you, and you distributed the money to whoever did the work.
Well, it depends. Like some of them, I would front them, and some, if they was close friends or dudes that was on my status, I deal with them hands on.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that they were bringing me money back. Most of the time they'll bring me the money back, but they already made their money. They get theirs off the top.
Got it.
So it was like I was giving them the product, they was selling the product, and whatever I told them that I want back, that's what they'll bring me back. So they had already made their money.
Yeah.
I was just fronting them the product.
Wow. So that kind of lifestyle, let's talk about the pros. What did that kind of lifestyle afford you at the height of you being in the quote unquote drug game? What are some of the things like you were able to do?
I had access to, whenever artists come down, I had the first access, jewelry, social status,
Yeah.
power in the community. Like I had, clothes, shoes. I had, at one point in time, we were staying in the Avondale Projects. I probably had 10 to 12 cars in the projects.
In the projects.
In the projects.
You gotta be kidding me.
And I did all this before 30. When we first got it, I think I was 19 when I first got the connect and the plug. And I remember I got it and I came home and I had a meeting. Hey man, I got this, And at the time, my crew was like, I was probably the oldest one. They was 15, 16, 17. To the point we had all the old heads in the project, hey, like, what they doing?
Yeah.
And to the point, like, these dudes, a lot of them dead in jail now. But when I say, like, putting the smack down, they were putting the smack down. Like, everybody knew about us. If it was in Birmingham that year, everybody knew about us. Everybody knew about us.
So when you said when artists would come into town, I connect artists to fame. So you had the fame.
Yes, sir.
All right. When you talk about jewelry, I connect that to fortune. And money, I connect that to fortune. So you had fame, you had fortune. With all of that fame and with all of that fortune, did you still feel like you were missing something?
All the time.
Talk about that.
Well, it's just like most of the dudes I was hanging with, they never knew where I stayed at.
Yeah.
You know, I meet them. We had a little spot we meet up at. You know, we'll meet up. But they never like came to my house. Like, I used to always meet them at the club. Like, I never drove with nobody. I never rode with nobody. I used to always ride by myself or my girl. So it was just it was scary. Like sleeping with guns. Being sometimes you get followed home to make sure I get home. Had security.
Hold on. How old were you and you had security?
20. It's like 23, 24.
So when you say security, you ain't just talking about a gun. You talking about like a security
Yeah,
guard.
I had a security guard at one point in time.
What was that like?
I drew a lot of attention to myself, but I really didn't need it at a point in time because, like I said, it was so many of us. But it's just to the point it was getting to when we was going to clubs and stuff. It was just getting scary.
Yeah.
So I ended up having a party, and one of the security guards, I only got him like on weekends, so when we go out. Because like I said, we went out Friday, Saturday, Sunday, every weekend.
Yeah.
I'm talking about riding Sprinter vans, and we might be on a Sprinter, but we might got 20 cars behind us. Like,
Wow.
it's to the point wherever Jacobie them was at, that way everybody wanted to be at.
So everybody followed you.
Everybody follows around. Like,
And you would be in the Sprinter.
I had a Sprinter.
Then y'all had about 20 cars behind you.
Yeah, we used to be super deep. Yeah.
So did you pay for everybody to get in the club?
I paid for everybody. I paid for everything from the bottles to the joints coming out, everybody getting in the clubs. I paid for everything. It wasn't a time I didn't pay.
So how much money would you say you were blowing on a 3-day weekend?
Probably anywhere from 10 to 20,000.
So if you were blowing 10 to 20,000 on a 3-day weekend, I can't imagine how much you was making.
Yeah, we was making a lot of money. On the average, when I first moved back to Birmingham, I saved up almost $400,000 in cash.
Wow. You know how many people never even seen that kind of money,
Right.
let alone in cash or in their bank account. So let's go back to some of the fame and like artists coming to town. You would have access to those artists. Who are some of the people you met?
I was actually bringing the artists to town.
Hold on, man.
So my first,
you weren't just meeting the artists
I
when
was
they
bringing
came. You was the one behind it,
right.
bringing them.
Yep. My first time I came back, and I moved back to Birmingham. I bought Rich Homie corn for my birthday. I paid him $10,000. I made like $80,000.
Wow.
And that might be one of the packest parties in Birmingham, like concert. Like it was at Atlantic's. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah.
Off in Ensley. When I say it was a firehouse, like 3 or 4 times a firehouse.
Wow.
To the point he didn't want to come in.
Really?
It was that packed. He didn't want to come in.
He said something going on.
Yeah, he didn't want to come in. Like, he didn't want to come in. So, yeah, I bought Rich Homie corn. I bought Young Thug. I bought Plies, PNB Rock, Shy Glizzy.
So how do you even get in touch with these people to bring them?
We had a booking man. We had a booking person.
Got it.
And he used to book them, and we'll pay him percentage, and he used to book them for us.
And then and then they'll bring in, and you get to meet them, and you spend a weekend with them, just kind of hang out with them, and then y'all go do the party or whatever.
Oh, they'll come in. Most of the time, they used to come in the day of the party.
Got it.
They'll come in the day of the party.
Man, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. So you're bringing people. You're not just meeting these famous artists. You're the one behind it, bringing them. So clearly, you're fronting the money to bring them and then making your money on the back end.
Yep. But most of the time, the club I was doing there was one of my best friend clubs. At the time, he had let me invest into the club.
Wow.
So I was like part owner of the club.
So you making money from the streets, you making money from concerts, and you making money from being a part owner of a club.
Yes, sir.
So clearly, although you're in this lifestyle, which is not a good lifestyle, there's good in you because you still have a business mindset.
Right.
Like business is business no matter what you do.
Right.
If you understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. What would you say to the person who thinks like a lot of people who are in this lifestyle have no good in them whatsoever when sometimes in actuality, some of the wisest business people are in the streets.
Right. So to even much get on that, it came to me. So I looked at it as a blessing. And when I first got the plug, and it was at the time my mama was sick. It was hard to make ends meet around the house. And since I was 13, I was helping my mama take care of the family. I was helping paying school clothes. It was just in me from watching. I was watching out for the police, for the old heads in the neighborhood, or gambling. I had a big gambling problem. I'm gambling at 13, and I come back home. It's like, boy, where you get this money from? So me even much getting it, and it was at the time I had just got to California, and I went out there on a scholarship. But when I got out there, everything that the coach promised me, I ain't get.
Right.
But I knew I wasn't gonna come back home. It just I would just had that drive, like I was just gonna be successful. So I wasn't gonna come back home. And at the time, if my mama knew the situation I was in California, she would have made me come back home.
Wow.
Because I was sleeping on a sofa. I was sleeping on my teammate's sofa.
In California?
In California when I first got there.
Wow.
For like 6 months until...
And you were there on a basketball scholarship?
I was out on a basketball scholarship. I was sleeping on my teammate's sofa. But I was so determined not to come back home. And I'm talking about I went days and stuff without eating. So when the dude the first time he approached me, because he found that I was from Alabama, he was like, man, we can make a lot of money together. I said, man.
So he approached you in California?
Yeah, because he knew I was from Alabama.
So the plug wasn't even in Alabama?
No, he was in California.
Wow.
So when he approached me the first time, I'm like, man, I don't know. I thought he was gay.
Yeah.
Because he kept following me around in school, and man, I want to just talk to you. I'm like, man, whatever you on, I ain't on that. And I was being like cautious because I'm 19 years old. I'm in California. Like, I see this Mexican following me. So at the time, like, you in junior college, that's the slums. You trying to get to the next level.
Right.
So at the time, like, when he first approached me, I'm like, nah, I'm straight. I'm here for basketball. That's it. I don't know what you on. I'm here to play basketball. So months go by. I'm calling home, mama sick, she ain't working. My brothers and sisters, it was rough, So I always tell people, like, I feel like whatever we do, if it's from preaching to playing basketball to playing football or selling drugs, robbing, we still got the grace of God. So
right.
I use that and like, okay, I'm going to use it I ain't need it for the women. I ain't need it because I always, growing up, we was the kids to hang around because we were so many of us. So I ain't take it as to get the fame or to get the women, to get the girls or nothing like that. I use it to take care of my family.
Yeah.
And provide. So I ain't look at it to get in the drug game because, like I said, I was around that my entire life. My dad was in prison.
So that's one of the questions I was going to ask. Like, when did you first see it? For you to get into it at 19, you had to be introduced to it somewhere. Now, I know the Connect was in California, but did you see it prior to that?
I never seen it. I seen it from the growing up in the neighborhood, but hands-on and up close in person, I never seen it. Because when my dad was in it, we was young, so I never seen him do it. And he never physically stayed with us to the point that we understand what he was doing. So the first time I got introduced to it, that was the first time I ever seen it hands-on.
Wow. What do you think made the gentleman seek you out? Was it your swag?
It was just how I carry myself, and I was from Alabama.
Man, that's a gift.
Right. So
Man, it's so crazy, man, how God gives us gifts, but Satan wants to take our gifts and pervert them to use them for his purpose.
right.
Man, that's crazy because your gift is your gift. Like, God gave you that. I tell you all the time, man, like, you got a swag about you that make people still want to be around you, and you ain't even in there no more.
Right.
But it's something about the way you carry yourself. It literally makes people want to be around you.
And that's when I got him, I'm talking to him, I'm like, man, why me? He was like, man, I always see how you just walk, you walk tall, you carry yourself good. And like I said, I looked at it like I said, to certain people it may sound crazy, but I really looked at it as a blessing because at the time I needed it. And like I said, I didn't take it for my own gain.
Right.
You know, like I said, I helped a lot of, like I tell people all the time, I put more people on than cash money.
Man, so when you talk about putting people on and you say you helped a lot of people, like we know that you used it to provide for your family. All right, so we see that. What's some of the other quote unquote good that you've used it for?
For 11 years, I say since 2009, 10, I did back to school giveaways. I did Christmas every year. I did Thanksgiving every year. I used to have block parties for the whole entire neighborhood. Pay a lot of people bills. Housing people. I did a lot. I did a lot.
Wow. So there again, that kind of deflates the myth that somebody who's in the streets, like there's nothing good about them, because a lot of times they have great hearts.
Right.
Like I know a couple of other guys who have lived their life, and when they were in their life, like on one hand they may be doing this to get the money, and that's not good. But on the other hand, there were so many people that they were helping from the exact same things that you just described, from paying people's bills, paying people's rent, to feeding the community. And would you say that in helping those people that not only you had a good heart in doing it, but was there ever an element where it made you feel a certain way that you could do it?
Yeah. And it's to the point, Pastor, like, I was so low key about it that a lot of people didn't know what I did.
Yeah.
Like,
You almost got to be low key.
because like I said, when I got in, most people, when they do it, they want everybody to know, oh, they the big dope boy, they this and that. I wasn't that,
Yeah.
It's just to the point, we was making so much, like I said, at the time, my brothers and my partner then, they was young. I was in Cali. I was in Cali, and I got a phone call. To the point, when I got the phone call, hey, such and such, your name just came across narcotics. I'm like, I'm in school. What y'all talking about? He was like, that's what I was telling. He's like, I'm putting my job on the line. Because he was like, when your name came across the board, I told him, no, that's not him. If it was his brother, then I believe it. But him, no, because I carry myself. Like I said, I never carry myself. Like I said, it was some dudes that it was hands on. But if you didn't see me do it, you know I did it.
Wow.
Because I had to carry myself. Like, I'm going to get up, and everybody knew that. I'm going to go out, I'm going to party, I'm going to be in church every Sunday.
Wow. So we're going to get to that in a minute. So your name coming up on a narcotics board, how do you think it came up? Do you think by association or?
By association, like I said, my crew was so young, they was wild, and they was just wild. Like, and there was a club across the street from the headquarters downtown.
I remember that club.
Yeah, they was going to that club, popping bottles, throwing money. Like, they was young, and I usually get so mad at them, but when I think about it, they was like 15, 16 years old, 17 years old.
Yeah.
And the type of money we was making, they wasn't used to it. Like, we
Yeah.
went from, you know how you go from the NBA, you broke, and now so you in the NBA. That's how we went. Like, we went from
broke to now we got all this money.
we got all this money.
So let's live.
and they was living. But I was in school playing basketball at the time. I was still in school playing basketball.
Wow.
So like I said, I was just really saving my money.
Yeah.
So like I said, they was, and my name came across the board. But after that day, and I told them I was in school, you never heard my name again.
Mm.
And it was grace. You got some dudes that get caught up in his life, and they went to prison. They get caught up. I got caught
So
up
did you ever fear going to prison? Did you ever fear for your physical life?
all
your
the time.
safety?
All the time. I used to get so many threats about getting robbed. I actually got followed home numerous of times. I got followed home numerous of times, like to the point that I had moved to a gated community.
Wow. So would you say on one hand you had this money, but on the other hand you really don't have any peace because you're not able to enjoy it because you always looking over your shoulder.
Right. And the crazy thing about that, it don't come from the enemy. The few times that I got followed home, it was from my friends.
Somebody you knew.
Yep. Hung with it every day.
Really?
Yeah, that's how I be in the streets. Because I tell people all the time, if every enemy who had an enemy knew what that enemy stayed at, how he moved, it'll be a lot more dead people.
And there's a lot of dead people already.
Right. So
you saying the homicide rate will go up even more?
it'll go up even more if every enemy knew what every enemy knew stay at. Most of the time now, if you just look in the movies, from Juice and all that, he killed his partner. You look at Paid in Full. Rico killed Mitch.
Wow.
It'll never be your enemy. I'll be somebody close to you. Every time that I had any threats or anybody try to do something to me, it came from people around me.
Wow. Man, that's crazy. So I don't want to skate over this piece. You said the whole time while you were in this lifestyle, you were still going to church every Sunday.
Every Sunday.
So what was your introduction to church? And then while you were in this lifestyle, why did you still go to church, knowing that some people, quote unquote, will label that hypocritical?
Uh,
So let's just start with your introduction to church.
I got introduced to church when I was, I want to say 9 or 10. And I got introduced to church by my auntie. She introduced me to church. But she was in the streets heavy, from selling drugs and using drugs.
Yeah.
So she introduced me to church. When she introduced me to church, I had fell in love with, fell in love with God, at an early age. And that stayed with me all the way up until now. It stayed with me.
Yeah.
So that's why I got introduced at.
All right, so fast forward, you in the game, but you still going to church every Sunday. What was that like?
It was still in me. And it's just like I always carry myself like I found out at an early age. They talked about God. They did everything to God, and he was perfect. So if I'm do this or not, or do it right or wrong, they still gonna talk about you. So I never cared.
Yeah.
So I always carried myself like that. I never cared what nobody said about me.
Yeah. So one of the things you said is that it was in you. Would you say it's safe to say that, when our parents or those who are our guardians put God in us, we can run away from the church, but we can never run away from God because it's impossible to run from who's in you because everywhere you go, he's still in you. So a lot of people think being saved means you never do wrong. I disagree with that. I think being saved, when you have the Holy Spirit, which is God in you, it means I can no longer ever do wrong and be comfortable with it.
Right.
So talk about the conviction that you felt.
I felt it was that's tricky right there. Cause
Yeah.
I look at I wasn't out here committing no murders.
Yeah.
We weren't committing no murders. If somebody played with us, we got active, but it went to the point. I wouldn't say we committed murders. We was out here hurting people. We was out here, just just doing, you got some people in this game, it come with all of it.
Yeah.
So I ain't look at it like I was just the worst dude on earth, but I did it as I look at it now, look over it now. It like I be sometimes be disgusted with myself.
Yeah.
You know.
I got it. So you're in the game, you in church. At what point did you walk away, and what was the determining factor? Like, did you hear God? Did you fear for your life? Like, what day did you decide, like, I'm done?
He was giving me warnings because I was still in the game, but at this point, I was losing more money than I was making.
Mm.
Then I go back to say it, like it was from people that I called. It was some family members. It was people I can call family, like, And the day after that wreck, and the crazy thing about that day, I was still. I think I had talked to you, not before, before, and I was still in it. I wasn't doing as much as I was, but I was still, because that's how I made my money. I never had a job.
Yeah.
So that's how I made my money. So I'm looking at it like I'm going to ease my way out, still trying to make my money to the point that I can make enough money and I can stop.
Yeah.
But that wreck came, and the crazy thing about it with that wreck, I believe I had 10 pounds in the car with me in that wreck.
Mm.
That was October when I had that wreck, October 2023. I had 10 pounds in the car with me when that wreck.
Mm.
And that was the day I was like, you know what? Warning coming for destruction, because, like I said, then it was having me thoughts like, I knew how powerful I was. Like, these people love me. So, like I said, I was losing money, and it had me making a thought, because that's not me to do something to somebody.
Mm.
Because they were playing about my money.
Yeah.
So when I was having these thoughts, I'm like, this is not me. I got to get away from this.
Yeah.
Because I'm having serious thoughts of getting people hurt, because I know I had that power to do that.
Yeah.
About my money. But like I said, these was people that I love, that if I do something to them, I know I couldn't sleep. I know I wouldn't be able to. I probably did something myself.
Yeah.
So when that time came, and like I said, when I was getting up, I never felt that. I never deal with this. Then I used to always tell myself, like, God, I'm gonna do it one more time this year. If you help me get through, I'm gonna leave it alone. And I kept hearing myself say that over the years. Because like I said, when I got in it, I ain't never get in it till I got in it to provide.
Yeah.
So over the years, I'm having this. You know how you talk to God, you get me through this, I'm gonna stop. You get me through this, God, I'm gonna come. And I was having this conversation every year. God, this gonna be my last year doing this, God. Just get me through this year. But this year, 2023, it was just from losing money and just going through things, like I was seeing it, and it was preparing me, like, and I had that wreck. That's when I knew then was like cold turkey. Like, cause some people ask me like, bro, how you stop? Like, to the point I was making I made my plug so much money, like to the point like he came actually in town, cause I stopped answering the phone. He came in town. He knew where I hung at, and one of my partners called me like, hey man, some folks in town looking for you. I'm like, what you mean? He's like, some folks in town looking for you. Like, he didn't want me to stop, because you build a relationship with these folks for so long, they don't want to deal with nobody.
Right.
And I made them so much money, and I told him I'd stop. Oh, man. Like, to the point he was trying to drop the price, and to the point he was trying to give me percentage into the grow house. Like, he didn't want me to stop.
Wow.
So, but like I said, that wreck right there was like.
Did he ask you why?
Nah, he asked me why. It's
Wow.
like, to the point when I stopped, I was just, like, I was done. Like,
Wow.
because like I said, the couple days after that wreck, when I finally got back behind the wheel, and I think I told you this, I was driving, and that seemed like my windshield just opened up.
Mm.
And I'm hearing God talk to me like, you either choose me or death.
Wow. You know what's crazy, man? When I was called to preach, I was in 4 car wrecks. And the fourth car wreck, the voice I literally heard God tell me, preach or die.
Mm.
Like either you gonna go in this direction and do what I tell you to do, whatever that may be. For me, it was preaching, or you gonna die.
Right.
Now you choose.
Right. I went through that same. I went through that same situation. I went through that and just driving. And I think I had a dream about that. And he told me, it was like, I remember the exact words, like, I let you get that big, I let you make all that money. I let you have all the social status because I knew I was going to use you.
Mm. Wow. So, man, this conversation flowing so well because I was going to land there before you even brought it up. So now that you've stopped, people have seen, like, your public baptism at the end of 2023. Like, I would always see you in church, but I never knew this about you. But I know when you got saved, like, a lot of people looked up to you because I would literally be out and they'd be like, oh, I'm coming to your church. I'd be like, for real? That's like, well, how long you been hearing about the church? Yeah, I heard about it for years, but I'm coming now because Jacobie got baptized. Like, man, if God can reel Jacobie in, like, your God got to be real. Like, people were coming up to me. I ain't talking about one person.
Right.
I'm talking about I went through a series of probably like 3 weeks where probably it happened 5 times. And people like, man, if your God doing something in Jacobie life, like, God real, like, I'm coming.
It was like that. Like, growing up, we was, I got a big family. And like I said, most of that comes from what people thought I was or what people, because some of these people don't, I have my friends take over me a lot because so many people think, oh, he arrogant or he this, he that. And they get to know me, man, that ain't him. He'll give you the shoes off his foot. He'll give you the shirt off his back if you ask. That ain't him. You might just, and that I always been there because I know how people is. Like I said, I've been hurt by people close to me. So I always kept everything inside of me. I always kept everything tight. Because if I say I love you, I genuinely love you. It ain't nothing I wouldn't do for you. And everybody around me know that.
Yeah.
So people look at it, like I said, they felt like we were doing so much. It's like you can do something to us and they'll expect you to do nothing back.
Mm.
And that's how I am. Like if you do something to me and that was wars and I'm gonna make you feel it. Like I'm gonna make you understand, like, and that what we was doing. Like people knew not to play with us. So it's like even in the streets, and if I hear somebody that say they gonna rob me, I'm gonna go to that person. Imagine somebody walking up to you and said something about somebody, you don't know who you're talking around, and they just automatically show up. You're gonna think twice about messing with that person.
Right.
So that's what we was doing. It wasn't no we was bullying or we was, if we hear rumors about, we gonna pull up.
Yeah.
So
and address it.
Yeah, right then and there. So it ain't gonna, cause you see them. So many people get messed up because they hear something and they just wait on it.
Yeah.
Instead of going and address the situation.
Yeah.
You don't know, even much. We talk about it now. Even much with this going on in Birmingham, and I was telling.
So some people who are watching at the time that we're recording this don't know what's going on in Birmingham, but in one day, 7 people, 6 adults and an unborn baby, 7, because I believe that life starts at conception.
Right.
So 7 people died in one day in Birmingham.
Mm-hmm. So I was saying this, like, even much of my situation, if you address the situation, it's like if you address the situation, I was telling my fiance about it, like women don't understand how much power they got, because even when she made a big impact on me, changing and getting out the street because she hated it. Mm-hmm. People might look at it like, okay, she had all the bags and red bottom, but she hated it. But if you see your man in the activity, because women put so much pressure on a man to provide that we'll do anything to provide for our women and our family. Mm. But if you say, baby, it's okay, get out the streets and, it's okay to be, I got it, And this the first time in my life that I had to fall back on her, Yeah. because I wasn't making much as money I was making.
Yeah.
And I had to fall back on her. She was picking up the slack, paying the bills.
Yeah.
You know? So I'm saying that to say, like, women, you can say, hey, baby, get out the streets. Or don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if you have to make up an argument to stop that second might save his life.
Wow.
You know? And they don't understand that. Like, and I was scared to lose her because I knew I got her, you know?
Yeah.
So she was at a point like, you know, you gotta stop. You gotta choose. And I went through that, and it really made me flashback because my mama said that's why she left my daddy.
Really?
Yeah, she told him, like, they was married for 15 years, and she said it was her scrawl. Like, he couldn't leave the streets alone.
Mm.
And, like, my dad was a testimony because he had 3 Class A felonies.
Really?
He ain't supposed to see the streets again.
Wow.
He had 3, and he was selling cocaine. So if you get 3 Class A felons selling cocaine, you don't see the streets again.
Man, that's crazy.
Yep.
That's crazy. So in closing, you stopping, of course, your connect wanted you to continue. What about those who were making money around you? Like, what was that like?
Man.
I can't close this out without
Man.
addressing that.
That's crazy, but I used to tell them, like, y'all don't know how much y'all are gonna miss me when, you know, because I'm taking a large portion out of my household to dish out. So a lot of them, like, one of them really wanted to fight me. Like, it was that bad. Like,
Really?
because they were making so much, we were making so much money. Like, it's to the point, like, I ain't want to really do it. You know, I was getting it, and I might give them one of them the whole load. So it affected a lot of them, you know, a whole lot. Like, some like, are in the messed up position right now.
Yeah.
Like, struggling, like.
Do you think they understand the change that God is making in your life, the path that you on? I'm sure they see you in the church. I'm sure they see you taking a more active role. I'm sure they see God moving in your life. Although they're upset, do you think they see God on you and in you?
Yeah. I had a few of them come, and like I said, I had one of them to call me recently, and we had a conversation, and just by me stepping up and doing it, it make him do it, and he want to get out the streets. But like I said, people look at it and take it the wrong way. We just at a certain age, early age, we get caught in survival mode, that we surviving, and you be surviving up until you still get to a certain age that you can leave it alone, but you just still in that survival mode. But a lot of them, you know, they respect it, and I see a lot of them change their life around too, though.
Man, that's good.
I see a lot of them change their life around too, though.
Man, I want you to know I'm proud of you. I want you to know that we cover you. Good intentions never lead to right behavior. That may be the life that you have come out of, but there was also a life that I have come out of. And that life that I have come out of, I never intend to go back to. But if I'm honest, sometimes in my most vulnerable moments, that life still calls me. I'd be lying to you if I told you that it didn't. But what I have learned is that good intentions don't lead to right behavior. Everybody has good intentions. But if we don't put boundaries in place and surround ourselves with accountability along with those good intentions, then we'll be just like the next person and go back to it. Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying? And so what I try to do is that I try to, like, I'm no different than anybody else. Every year, some pastor, some preacher, some politician is on the news or in the news or social media for doing something stupid.
Right.
No pastor just wakes up one day and says, you know what, I think I want to lose my whole family. No preacher, no politician just wakes up one day and says, you know what, I think I want to be in the biggest scandal ever, and it be all over the news, and I be embarrassed, and my family be embarrassed, and my kids be embarrassed. But although nobody intends for that to happen, every year it happened to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
I'm no different. I realize it can happen to me. All right? Like I realize that it can happen to me. So what I've tried to do is live my life within boundaries. So I put certain boundaries in place because I don't intend on going back, but I know if these boundaries are not in place and I just had these intentions, then it's not long until I do go back. All right, so I got boundaries, and then I have certain brothers in my life and fathers in my life. One father, many brothers, who help to hold me accountable, who really ask me tough questions, like how you treating your wife, you know. Are your eyes on someone that you have no business looking at? Like, they ask me them hard questions. How's your marriage right now? You know, questions can't nobody just come up to me and ask me about really personal things. And I'm giving the PG version on this. You get what I'm saying? But that helps to keep me in the direction I want to go in. And so what I would say to you and anybody else who's coming out of a former life, because I talk about all the time, we all have BC days before we met Christ or before we allow him to be the Lord of our life. We may have been around him in proximity, but before we just totally surrendered, you know, whatever life we come out of, sometimes in our most vulnerable moments, that life gonna come calling. But if you surround yourself with accountability and you put boundaries in place, you got whatever you need to make sure that you never go back. Yeah. I love you, bro.
I love you too, Pastor.
That completes this episode of Unconventional Conversations. I pray that you have been blessed, inspired, fueled, and re-energized by this conversation. Jacobie, if anybody wanted to get in touch with you, how can they get in touch with you?
You can hit me up on Instagram at CML CEO. You can hit me up on Facebook at Jacobie Williams. On my nonprofit page called Everybody Wins. And it stands for West Side, East Side, North Side, South Side, working to enhance neighborhood success.
That's good. So wins, WENS, West Side, East Side, North Side, South Side. Everybody wins. Man, it's been a privilege. So listen up, everybody. This is how you can get in touch with Jacobie. I pray that you are blessed. Until next time, let's keep Jesus lifted. And I will see you on the next episode of Unconventional Conversations. Father, in the name of Jesus, take us from this place, but never from your presence. I pray right now for Jacobie. I pray for everyone that is in his sphere, his circle of influence. God, I pray right now that you would continue to use him in a mighty way. Put a fence, a shield, and a hedge of protection around him that Satan cannot get in, that he cannot get out. I plead the blood of Jesus over him, that as the death angel passed over the Israelites because of your blood on the doorpost, that every demonic spirit, thought, and generational curse of sickness, death, disease, and poverty is passing over him because of your blood that covers him. I pray right now that as he steps into this, Father God, that you would continue to use him, God, that he would be a beacon of light, that he would let his light so shine before men that they would see his good works and glorify you, his God in heaven. I pray that his change, the change that you have made and are making inside of him, will lead thousands upon thousands upon thousands upon thousands to Jesus, God. God, I pray, Holy Spirit, that you would show him the accountability and the boundaries that he needs inside of his life to keep him on this path, God. Cover him, dispatch your angels, minister to him, bless his beloved family, God. And we say thank you in Jesus' mighty name. Amen, amen, and amen. God bless you. I'll see you again next time. Peace.